Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes, it is. What is it today? It is Thursday. I'm a bit at sea today. I'm not quite sure what day it actually is today, but I do believe that it's Thursday morning. There's something of, is it the 24th or something of June? June. We're still in June. Let me explain my befuddlement this morning. Before I explain my befuddlement this morning, first of all, I'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who is standing to my right side. And I would like to say good morning to Chris. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Rosemary. Good morning, everyone.
And you're in Vermont right
I
now, right?
am.
So I'm going to explain my little bit of befuddlement because I'm getting my dates mixed up and I'm getting, I'm sort of, I, I have so much going on at the house right now. For those of you who don't know, I've had some new windows put in, and then the inspector came yesterday morning while I was still in the shower. Everybody, he was supposed to come on Friday, but he didn't. He came yesterday instead. We got over that. I invited him to come into the shower with me, but no, not really. I'm just teasing. Just teasing. So he gave me a little while to sort of get myself together, and then came back. And then somebody else was supposed to come and measure something, and they didn't come. And then now they're coming. Are they coming today? Now they're coming to finish the windows this afternoon, or are they? Who knows? So it's like, and somebody else is coming to do something else to fix my front door. And I did, you see, what a lot of you don't know is that I had a little bit of a catastrophe a few months ago in the house. Would you all like to know about my catastrophe? It's very boring. I'll tell you briefly that my air conditioning unit went like that and flooded the kitchen floor and wrecked the door between the kitchen and the garage, and on and on and on it goes. And so you see, and it did a lot of damage. And so you see, I'm having to get all this fixed. Can you understand why I have a little befuddlement today? Because I'm trying to juggle everybody's schedule and trying to decide and to figure out who is it who's coming in next. So I've got someone coming in maybe today, maybe tomorrow, you never know, to do the door. And on it goes. You see, it's all of these silly little niggly things that everybody has to deal with, when there are so many more important things that we have to talk about today, other than what is going on in my life and in my house. So anyway, so moving on past my befuddlement. My windows are, by the way, looking really great. I'm very pleased with that. Are you excited for me that I've got new windows in? People kept saying to me, are you excited? Are you excited? And I'm thinking, not really. I mean, nice to have them, but the things that excite me perhaps are very different. What excites me is when I'm able to give somebody a message from the spirit world that comes out of left field, so to speak. It's so amazing, it's so incredible. And you say something to someone, you can see their eyes getting wider and wider, and how did she couldn't possibly know that. And because, you know, when people come to see me, we had an email, didn't we, Chris, this week, to say somebody had said about to somebody else, well, she could Google all of that for you. She could have known all of that. She could have investigated all of that. Chris and I were laughing because do you know how much it would cost for an investigator? Do you know how much time and effort and energy I would need to put into that sort of thing? And most importantly, I would have to have an amazing memory, and those who know me would laugh at that, because really I can hardly remember what I said 5 minutes ago. Never mind what I'm supposed to remember when I'm sitting in front of someone giving a consultation. What do you think about that, Chris? I do understand why people are skeptical. I do. But, you know, some people do take it to the extreme, don't you think?
Well, it's all about being open-minded or not being open-minded, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
believe in the possibility of this being real and you apply some healthy critical thinking skills, you realize, you know, what we do. It is real, and you'll have more luck communicating with those that you love.
Yeah, I think it's I always tell people it's okay to be skeptical. In fact, I like it when people are skeptical. I think that's the way we should all be, but healthily skeptical, not just critical. Not critical just because you don't want to believe. Being open-minded means sort of taking all of the facts into account, looking at them. Yes, of course, there are some generalizations. When somebody like me gives a message to somebody, of course, there are generalizations. Of course, there are. But then there are those small, seemingly insignificant little details that I couldn't possibly know, but are I would say that in some ways, the cornerstone of a good consultation, because you can say, well, she could have found that out. You could have said, well, that could apply to anybody. You can say, oh, yeah, well, yes, he could have, he probably says that to 10 people and 8 out of 10 people would relate to it. You can say all of those things, right? Because, there's a lot about all of us which is very similar. However, those little tiny details that nobody could possibly know, that come out of left field, so to speak, that they sort of, nobody's expecting them, least of all me, and I don't even know most of the time what I'm talking about. But those little details that will mean something really crucial to the person that you're giving the message to, that as a medium I don't even understand, or I don't know where that's coming from, and I often don't know why I'm saying these things, but those are the cornerstone. They are the solid foundation of what, as if you're a person having a consultation, they are the things that you need to watch for. They're the things that, how could anybody else possibly know that? And they're the things that make it real, I think. So, Chris.
So some of the comments in the chat room are, let's start with Carolyn. She's saying, I think it's kind of funny. Um, it feels like it's been a long time since we were last on. And then,
It's only, what is it? It's been, what is it? Just a few days.
well, when you compare what we were doing in May, which was literally every single day, it would seem like it for sure.
Well, it is true that we did, Carolyn, intend to do more than we're doing. But as you all know, things took a little sideways turn. Um, and we're not doing story time this Saturday because, Chris, do you want to tell us what's happening on Saturday?
Oh, I can. So, I mean, anyone joining us right now, my husband passed on June 5th. So, as you can imagine, like many of you, it's been a roller coaster of things to do and, um, you know, living a new life. But uh, the joy in some of this is our town is appreciating Mike on Saturday, where the Little League is going to all be wearing black bands on their arm. They're going to tell something to our family, these 10 to 12-year-olds are. My eldest son and father-in-law is going to throw out the first pitch. And they have some other things planned as well. And so it's necessary that I get back to the field and do these things with them.
I'm sorry. Did you know that you'd lost me?
I saw you struggling to get back in. Yes.
Okay, well, here I am. Somebody called, and I put this thing on a do not disturb deliberately, but it still does take some calls. So, anyway, here I am back. So I'm taking it that you carried on talking while I was gone, and now I'm back again. So you've explained about the memorial, which is happening on Saturday morning, right?
Yes. But I didn't get to the part where that's
Okay.
the reason why the webinar which was originally scheduled for June 26th, has been moved to July 24th.
Right. And you might say, well, why wait a month? Well, because first of all, we have other things that we have to do. And second of all, we have to give Chris time to get stuff sorted out as well. We absolutely know that the majority of you who have booked for this Saturday will be disappointed, but we also absolutely know that you will perfectly well understand, and we will simply move the event to July the 24th, which also gives other people a chance to sort of lock in that date. And if you want to know more about what we're doing on the webinar, we are giving messages from the spirit world. We're going to, when I say we, Greg and I, we're going to make connections with your loved ones, those of you who are joining us in the webinar. Of course, not everybody's going to get a message. I'm only one little person here, but we're going to be giving many messages to a lot of the people who join us. And for those of you who don't necessarily get a message, you'll get a message because you'll see how it works and you'll see how amazing those messages can be. Now, we've done it once in this way. What do you call it? What do we call it, Chris?
The webinar, you mean?
Yeah,
I wasn't sure where you were going.
Yeah.
Yeah, we use Zoom.
Yes, thank you. That's it. So
okay.
Anyway, so we've only done it once. It worked really, really well. And so many people, we had so many comments from people saying how wonderful it was and how much they enjoyed it. So we plan to do another one for the 24th of June. We're now moving it to July. Sorry, the 25th of June, right? 26th. Sorry. Yeah. We're now moving it to the 24th of July, but we're also booking another one. So if you cannot make the 24th of July, we are also we're going to have another one in August. So if the date of the 24th of July does not work for you, then we have another date in August. Which date did we decide, Chris?
August 21st.
So August 21st. Now we will be doing other events in the meantime, intermittently in the meantime. But for those of you who, have booked, we are giving you those alternate dates. So there should be no problems and no issues. And I can't wait to sort of get going on that, as I know that Chris can't wait. Now you're saying, well, is it only you and Chris then? We do have other people. We do have volunteers. We do have people who help us with this stuff. But well, I was going to say to all of you, you know what Chris is like, but of course you don't, do you? But Chris is amazing. She organizes these things. So she feels that she has this responsibility to make sure that as much as she can, that things go right as she's going along. So although we do have lots of other helpers, and we do have other people who are, let's say, on standby for these particular events, Chris wants to be a part of it, and I want her to be a part of it, and I'm hoping you all will understand and also want to be a part of it too. So we're doing all of that. And we're back to Carolyn just for a second. My darling, we did do an off the cuff. When was it, Chris, that we did an off the cuff?
I want to think Friday? Last Friday?
See, we did do, I think we did do an off the cuff on Friday. I know that Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, oh golly, I know that things keep slipping by, but we are definitely hoping to do something on Sunday. We may even do story time on Sunday morning. We know that a lot of you have plans, but we're probably going to do it anyway. But we're going to wait and see what's happening with Chris, what's happening with Chris's family. We'll definitely be doing some off the cuff stuff. I'm hoping that maybe even tonight we can do some off the cuff stuff. Chris, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Would you like to share with everybody, Chris, a little off the cuff, or shall we wait for off the cuff? Maybe we'll wait for off the cuff. I was thinking about what happened last night.
That was fabulous, just fabulous.
Do you want to say anything about it?
Well,
we can talk more about it in the
keep the intrigue later. Going, right?
Yeah. Okay. Let's just say that Chris's husband, Mike, who I adore, who Chris also adores, obviously, um, well, he was mucking about, as we British would say. He was mucking about a bit. Uh, we'll tell you more later. If you join us for Off the Cuff later on, you can hear all about it. And we'd love to have your opinions. And I know that there are those of you who are watching this show who have had their own experiences from their loved ones in the spirit world, when their loved ones from the spirit world do those silly things to attract attention, to say, we're here. The difference, I suppose, with Chris, and I know it's not fair, I know it isn't fair, but the difference with Chris is that she's got me. So I not only can observe what's happening with her, as I did in this case last night, I had Mike standing right by my elbow telling me what he was doing while he was doing it. Join us for Off the Cuff later on for that little tidbit. It may sound odd to some of you when we're talking about grief, we're talking about the loss of somebody, when we're talking about sort of, how painful and devastating it can be. And I think most of us have experienced that. But so it may sound a little odd when we talk about the joy that we find in it also, and the laughter that we find in it, and the fun that we find in it. But truly, if we look for it and we watch out for it, it is truly joyful when we think we've lost someone and then they pop up and there they are, making their presence known, and letting you know that they're, hey, I didn't, you think, oh, you think I died? No, there is no such thing as death, there's no such thing as dying. Here I am, pay attention, take notice, and our loved ones in the spirit world, in one way or another, will often give us signs that they are with us still, which is joyful. Chris.
So, on a more somber note, Cheryl is telling us, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Prayers for the people in the Miami building collapse.
Yes, of
So,
course.
we're definitely thinking of them.
Of course, of course, of course. And we do our Hands Around the World Healing Minute, 11 a.m. every morning. Wherever in the world you are, you don't have to connect in with us in our time. Wherever you are in the world, 11 a.m., if you could just spend, let me see, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, perhaps 30 seconds, that's all you need, just to send out a thought. And we know that our thoughts are living things. When I say that, our thoughts are tiny pulses of energy which go out into the universe. And as we're thinking, as our thought process is working, those thoughts that we're having are going out into the universe and reaching those people that we're sending our thoughts out to. So when I say thoughts are living things, I mean that they are moving, they are energy, and they're able to affect so many people. Hopefully in a really good way. So when I say to you, please send out your thoughts and your prayers to those people, as we're talking now in Miami, or sending out your thoughts wherever you feel that they need to go, that they can help someone, sending out your healing thoughts and your prayers. Dear God, please help. Dear God, can I be part of that healing process? I mean, how long did it take me to say that? It's less than 30 seconds. And just at 11 a.m. And the reason I'm asking you to do that at 11 a.m., collective thought, when we're all thinking the same thing at around about the same time, regardless of the time differences, we're all connecting in that moment. We're all connecting in with that one thought, which is to send out our healing thoughts to those, to direct them in the way that we want them to go and to where we would like them to go. So it's very, very powerful. We call our healing minute is 11 a.m. It literally is a minute, if not less than a minute. And we ask for all of you to join in 11 a.m. Your time, wherever in the world you are, healing hands around the world. That's what we're calling this. That's what we've been doing for a long, long time now. So let's, Chris, have the next comment or question, shall we?
Glenda's saying, I just wanted to let you know that my son did have a heart attack, and I appreciate y'all's prayers. He had surgery yesterday to make sure there was no blockage, and they sent him home late last night. Keep praying for him that he gets better. Thank you so
That's
much.
that's Glenda. That is brilliant. I'm so glad that everything is working out really well for you. Now he needs to pay attention to his diet, but you know that, don't you? So I'm sure the doctors will be very, very insistent that he, does, what he needs to do. So what wonderful, and thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you for letting us know, Chris.
Katerina says, thank you for your shows. I'm going through painful times. My mother will probably pass soon. Is the spirit world organized like ours? Meaning, are they involved in daily activities as we are?
Oh, that's an interesting question, Katerina. I'm so sorry for the pain that you're going through. Try to remember though. Oh gosh, it's so hard, isn't it? The pain that we feel when we have a loss is mostly it's so much for ourselves. We don't want to let that person go. We want that person still in our lives. So how are we going to manage without that person? So on and so forth. But for them, it is a really incredible and a joyful experience, and it really is, a continuation of the journey. So I'm hoping that that will help you a little bit with what you're going through. Is the spirit world organized as ours is? I think more so. I'm not quite sure what you mean about going about our daily lives, but Gregel is laughing and saying we do go about our lives. Yes, that's interesting, isn't it? Oh gosh, I could really throw a spanner in the works here if I tell you that we on this earth plane, oh, should I do this to you all or not? Yes, why not? Right, right. So I'm going to throw a little spanner in the works here. So we on this earth, we deal with our lives. We have a 24-hour clock, don't we? We have the 24-hour clock, which means day by day by day. We count our time. We count our hours. Time. Time rules our world. Time, the clock, the minutes, and let's do this at 10 o'clock. Let's have a meeting at 12 o'clock. Everything is about time for us, which helps us. It does help us to sort of bring order to this world of ours. However, do those in the spirit world live their daily lives? Well, you see, they don't have the 24-hour clock, so I'm not quite sure how to answer that. I'm really throwing you all for a loop here. What do you mean they don't have a day? What do you mean they don't have a 24-hour clock? What does earth you mean? That's for another time and another place, but I just thought I'd throw it out there. Whatever they do, I know that it's productive, and yes, those in the spirit world, and along with those you have lost, along with Chris's mic. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, see, interfering again. He's just Chris. Your husband is an interferer of our shows, and I absolutely love it when he pops in here.
I'd
I
consider
know.
him a collaborator.
Well, he is actually. He's helping us with all sorts of things. He was helping us last night with all sorts of ideas. So he is, after all, and who always has been a part of our team. So, it's not surprising that he pops in from time to time. But he's blowing you kisses even as we speak. Tells me to tell you. I'm saying this to you, Chris, but I'm also saying to Mike, you can do this without interfering in the show. And he's laughing. He just wants you to know he'll be there on Saturday as well as every other day. Anyway, so now, no. Uh, so now I'm asking him. He's got to be quiet now. So yes. So here we've got this 24-hour clock business out of the way. I've thrown you all for a loop. Chrissy's husband is throwing me for a loop. I'm not going to let him do it. Chris, let's move on. Do we have any other comments or
Oh,
questions
yes.
going on?
Yes, we do. Cheryl's saying, I need a hug from the spirit world.
Well, if I gave you a hug, Cheryl, would that help a little bit? So I'm sending that to you even as we speak. And I'll bet you anything you like that you're getting lots of hugs from your loved ones in the spirit world also. Keep going, Chris.
Dean
And
says,
if I seem to be a bit of a wriggler this morning, my back is out, so I'm having to sort of move the cushion to make myself more comfortable. Just I don't want you all thinking that I'm getting bored or anything. Yes, Chris, go ahead.
Dean's letting you know he's going to take a motorcycle ride soon because it's a beautiful day there.
Oh, Dean, isn't it beautiful? And when you take that motorcycle ride, I hope you're going to be doing your exercises along the way. Just saying. When are we all getting together again, by the way? I'm missing my group. Anyway, Chris.
Let's see. Sharon says, I've been feeling really down and without hope the last few days.
Oh,
I try to get myself out of this headspace, but it's not always easy. Do you or Grey Eagle have any message for me?
we do. You need a really good shaking, a good kick up the bottom. Am I giving it to you now? I'm giving it to you with love, Sharon, don't you? You've got so much in your life to be happy about, and you need to, nobody's saying it's easy. I mean, sometimes, I get up in the morning and I'm like this creaky old lady. Now, my daughter would probably say, well, you are a creaky old lady, but I refuse to be creaky, and I refuse, she says, sitting here with a bad back. It was all moving all that furniture out of the way for the window people. That's what did it. So, yes, maybe I am creaky. Uh, some people would consider me to be old. My grandson considers me to be very old. When we do quizzes, I'll often say, now, in the olden days, and he'll look at me and he'll say, was that when you were a little girl, Mosey? And I'll say, no, actually, that was in the olden days. So, but I refuse to be old, and I refuse to be creaky, even if I am creaky, and if it does take a while. Nobody's saying it's easy to be happy. Nobody's saying it's easy to have a positive attitude. Nobody's saying that. I'm certainly not saying that to you, Sharon. Sharon, I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying you can do it. You absolutely can do it. Trust in yourself. Trust in me if you can, to say you can do this. And you need to start getting out and about and planning your future. Enough of thinking about everybody else for now. Let's start thinking about what you can do to make your life better. Am I lifting you out of that depression? Because boy, oh boy, I should be doing. Chris.
Carol says, I'm in a lot of pain. Do you and Grey Eagle see that I will be all right, or should I get a doctor to get me in sooner?
Um, okay, Carol. Grey Eagle has his hand on my shoulder here. Um, Apparently, my lovely, you are a person who does suffer in silence. If I can just tell you that the squeaky wheel gets the attention, the squeaky wheel, be a squeaky wheel. In other words, you know, call somebody, let people know. Don't you suffer in silence now, my darling, because the people are right there who can relieve your pain. They can help you. It's just a question of you've got to, if you don't show it, they don't know it. If you don't tell it, how can they fix it? And if your doctor if you're going to be silent, believe you me, they'll allow it. They're not going to rush you. They're not going to push it. They're so busy that, if you're a patient who is not saying or not pushing, then they're just going to leave you to it. So be the squeaky wheel, my darling. Just you need to call someone and say, I need some help here. This is not working for me. I need some help. And if you've got someone close to you who can be your advocate, who can talk to the doctors with you or on your behalf, that would be better still. Chris.
Betsy says, it's 11:11 and I just saw you were on and tuned in.
Well, there you are.
Numerology is funny when it does that to you,
I
isn't it?
know, isn't that weird when that happens? can I just come back to Carol for a moment? Carol, we are going to be putting you on our list. I think we might already be on, but we're going to be sending you some extra healing, my darling. Sorry. Yes. Yes. What do they call it? Serendipity. Things can be serendipitous. I love the word serendipitous. Don't you like that word? I'm a wordy, so I love words. Chris.
Julie says, hello all, nearly finished reading The Eagle and the Rose.
Uh-oh.
How did you
Nearly
know?
finished. Nearly
Yeah.
finished. Ooh.
How did you know Gray Eagle in the past? He said you knew each other, but you would not remember him. Has he told you?
Oh, Julie. Yes. Ah, somewhat, yes. That's for another time. It's maybe for another book. Have you read any of the other books? So I can't spoil this for you. You have to discover it for yourself. I would like you to let us know um, when you have finished the book, when you have finished it. Can you just let us know how you found the book? Did you like it? Did you love it? Uh, all that sort of thing. Yes, let us know, Julie. I'm so pleased you're reading the book.
So I'm going to continue on with a couple more questions from Julie. Do we choose our health conditions / diseases, or does it not work this way? I don't look to the spirit world anymore for answers to health issues, as I don't think they know the answers any more than anyone in our world or our own knowing path.
Right. There are all sorts of questions in there. First thing is that sometimes we come to this earth knowing that we are going to encounter difficulties, and sometimes we even know prior to our birth here what some of those difficulties might be. So, do we choose our illnesses prior to being here? You could say it's not quite as simple as yes, but you could say yes with provisos. Um, some people do understand, they do know that they're coming here to help, to inspire, to learn, to grow, but also to help and inspire others. I'm thinking of our earth angels. I'm thinking specifically of Tomas, who was severely disabled, had a disease which rendered him from a very young age of being totally paralyzed. So he couldn't communicate, and I know that he chose this path um, because he's an earth angel. So he came here to help us to teach, to learn, and everyone he touched and everyone he came in contact with was inspired by him. There are other health issues that we create, don't we? We with our lifestyle, with our eating habits, we create these things. If I think about myself, I think that there are so many things that happened to me. Did I choose, for instance, to have kidney problems? Did I choose that path? I think what I chose is not specifically or necessarily to have the kidney issue, but to go through issues and to experience health issues so that I would then be able to help others and not just be sympathetic to others with health issues, but also to be able to be empathetic, having gone through those things myself. So I think that we choose some things, but we don't necessarily choose what it's going to be. But also, I think that we choose in our human form to have health issues because we don't take care of ourselves, and so we choose that as well. So does the spirit world? I'm interested in the last part of the thing, Julie, that you said was you're not asking the spirit any more for help and advice because they can't help, which is actually so not true. I think it's in the Eagle and the Rose, and you probably have read that, where a couple came to me. Their daughter was killed very tragically. It was a hit and run accident, and their daughter was killed, but they have another daughter who was born with cerebral palsy. However, that cerebral palsy was made worse. This young girl's health issues were made, 100 times worse. I'm not exaggerating, because it turned out that she was allergic to many different types of food. And it was only through the consultation with me that they learned that that this was the problem. I was able to recommend them to a great doctor in England, a Dr. Mumby, who has had a clinic. I don't know if he still does, but had a clinic, I think, somewhere in North Yorkshire. But he deals specifically with allergies, people who have allergies, and so on and so forth. And when they took their daughter to see Dr. Mumby, and it turned out that she was allergic to so many things. Once they got her on a proper diet, once they corrected things, this girl was, the cerebral palsy didn't go away. It would be nice if I told you that, but she was much healthier. She was much happier. She was less moody. She was much more, she was just happier in her own self. So the spirit world can help in these situations, very much so often. So it's not, I think it's not as, I do understand where you're coming from, my darling, but it's not quite as cut and dried as you might like it to be. Chris.
Aislinn says, I love your advice. It's wise and kind.
Thank you. What a lovely name that is. I don't think I've ever heard that name before. Is it an Irish name, maybe? I don't know. A Scottish name, maybe? I don't know. Maybe you'd let us know. Do we know where people are writing in from? Because we do love that as well, you know. We do love to know where people are calling in from. Chris.
Claire is saying hello, and
Hi, Claire.
Marilla is saying she's sending you a kiss from Italy.
Oh, Morella, thank you. I'll take as many kisses as you have to send me. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Cheryl's asking, what kind of soul was/is Jesus? Obviously not the same as all of us, but it gets confusing sometimes.
Um, hmm, not sure that I've been asked that question before, and I'm not sure that I can quite answer it. I think it takes a more in-depth answer. You know what? I'm going to ask Regal after this show if he will help me out with that. He's chuckling. But yes, he was a soul created on this earth and created from, um, very specific type of energy. So I'm going to see what that was all about and see if I can help you. Chris.
Elizabeth says, good morning, Rosemary.
Morning, darling.
Your smile is healing. I
Thank
take
you.
you as an example to be positive and make me feel better. Thank you for all you do for us.
Oh, that's so lovely of you to say that. Thank you so very much. Again, if I can remind all of you out there, don't think that this smile of mine is always easy every day. Um, it's only easy because I have to remind myself sometimes of all of the positives. I have to remind myself that my energy shines out. I want those in the spirit world who come to us. I want my own family in the spirit world. I want my daddy in the spirit world and my brother in the spirit world to see my energy shining out despite the things that are going on around me that might pull me down or might make me feel a bit depressed or a bit frustrated or what have you. It is not easy always, but what's the alternative? Gee, crikey, Riley, she says, I could not even face the alternative. Being a negative Nelly, being miserable every day. Are you kidding me? I mean, I can moan and complain better than most people. I can be negative better than most people. I can sort of, sulk and, slump down and feel depressed better, probably better than any of you out there could possibly be, because I believe if you're going to do something, do it well. But I'll only do it for so long, and then I really give myself a talking to. What am I getting by being miserable? What is being depressed doing to me? How is it helping me? Once I start to ask those questions, I start to say, "Oh, right, get a grip now. Come on, you've got to work at this. You've got to push through this. It may not make the situation better, but it makes the way you handle it far better, and it makes you feel better in your own self. And if all else fails, switch off your phone, switch off your computer, switch everything off, turn on the TV, find a really, really good movie, uh, settle down, tune out the world, and just indulge for a little bit just by yourself. Why not? Chris?
Aislin's saying that her name is Gaelic. And also, I read your book years and years ago, and it was profound for me.
Oh, thank you so much. I thought it was Gaelic, which is why I did say Irish or Scottish, or Welsh even. Uh, don't want to leave the Welsh out. My grandfather on my father's side would be very disappointed if I left out the Welsh side of things. But it is a beautiful name. Thank you for letting us know. Okay, Chris, keep going.
Musaka Gary is saying, I feel the spirit world will always help. The problem is people often ask for help out of desperation, but seldom listen.
You're so right. I told him this morning, I was speaking to Moosey. I'm going to call him Moosey from now on. Moosey for Musaka. I told the story. I don't know if any of you who are listening heard the story, but I told the story of how Gary and I went to the Greek islands and he ate so much moussaka that his belt buckle, one day he was eating moussaka at the time. We were sitting in this little restaurant. We suddenly heard a bang against the wooden table that we were sitting at. Gary looked down. I looked down at where he was looking, and his belt buckle, he'd been eating moussaka every day, at least once a day, and often twice a day. And his stomach had expanded. We weren't even there that long. What was it, 2 weeks or something? 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something. His his stomach had expanded to the point where his belt buckle literally snapped, and we had to go out into the town after lunch and get him a new belt. That was funny. So he called me this morning to say, so then actually I called him for some reason, but anyway, he said, so I see you told my story. It still makes me laugh. So I said to him, yes, from now on, I'm going to call you Moosey for Musaka. So, okay, keep going, Chris.
It is such a fabulous story.
I agree with whatever he said, but I've forgotten what he said.
The problem is people often ask for help out of desperation, but seldom listen.
It's so true. It is true. Yeah. I mean, when people come to me for a consultation, as I said to a lady very recently, in fact, this week, I can give you as much help and guidance and advice. I can tell you about the opportunities and I can tell you about the possibilities of your life. I can do all of those things, but it's your choice as to whether you listen and you take notice and you run with it and you go with it and you trust your loved ones in the spirit world to guide you in the right way, or whether you're going to just look the other way and say, no, you know what, no, I'm not going to do that, I'm not ready to do that, or what have you. So it's that old adage, isn't it, Moosey? You can take a horse to water but you can't make it drink. Although if you took the horse to a Greek restaurant and ordered moussaka, I wonder if the horse would enjoy it. All right, this is getting really silly now. Moving on, Chris. Moving on.
Carolyn's saying, thank you, Rosemary. I do need prayers. God bless you. I'm going to call the doctors again and see if they can get me in sooner than the 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, look, darling, you don't be afraid to be the squeaky wheel. If you're in a restaurant and you be the squeaky wheel, be careful for the next course, because you never know if the waiter's going to spit in your soup or something. But as far as most people are concerned, being the squeaky wheel, and especially if you do it in the right way, in a good way, You can complain, but you can complain with a smile on your face, and you can say to the waiter, I know it isn't your fault. I know how hard you work, but this is, take it back because it's not good. So don't be afraid, my darling, to be that squeaky wheel. Let us know how you get on, would you? Chris.
Eric's on from California and is saying good morning.
Good morning, my lovely.
And then there are no new questions, but 3 comments from Carolyn, Heather, and Sharon, all telling me to take the time I need and how wonderful to hear what's planned for Mike on Saturday. And they're getting goosebumps at the honors being planned for him.
Well, it is amazing, isn't it? It really is an honor. I think it's an honor for us too, Chris, that we had such a nice time. I mean, obviously, you spent much more time with him than I did. There'd be something wrong if you didn't. But I knew Chris's husband. For all of you out there who are wondering at the relationship, let me tell you, that man would do anything. I think I did say at some point that there is a great interview that Chris agreed to do with me. Where would they find it, Chris?
It'll be on YouTube. That's where all your reservoir of
So
videos are.
well, Chris and I did an interview when this had only just happened for Chris, and she was amazing and inspirational, and it was a very moving because it was very new and very fresh. It's still very new and it's still very fresh. But as I said in that interview, if Chris asked Mike to stand on his head and whistle Dixie, he might complain about it. He might say, what do you want me to do that for? But if it was really important to Chris, he would do it, wouldn't he, Chris? He would do, anything to please you, really, pretty
Yes.
much. And now he's being a real pain because well, I could say that I'm not saying it behind his back. I'm looking right at him when I'm saying it to him. He can be a real pain because he just is so wanting Chris to know, look, I'm not going anywhere. I'm right with you guys and helping every step of the way. And when we do our off the cuff later on today, we shall tell you the story of how Mike really let us know that in a very playful way, how he let us know that hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. So that was interesting. Is there anything else? Any other? Sorry, go on, Chris.
Agnes is saying she has no questions. She's just a listener, and usual to feel connected again and keep the chin up.
Oh, nice. We thank you for that. Anything else going on, Chris? Because we're going to cut this short. If we don't have any other questions or comments, we're going to definitely cut this short.
Aislinn says, hearing from you and Chris is always such a treat. Thank you, thank you. Blessings to you both and your loved ones.
Thank you, darling. And the same right back at you. Anything else, Chris?
No, that's it. That's all in the comments.
Right then. So we're going to have what are we going to do? Should we do anything else or should we just finish early? What do you think, Chris? It's your choice.
You should tell the story of, let's call it the noise in your bedroom the other day.
The noise in my bedroom?
You were showing me your windows and then do you hear that noise?
Oh, yes. Oh, gosh, yes. Mike again. All right. So Chris and I were, we were FaceTiming, right, Chris?
Yes.
We were on FaceTime. And we were talking about all sorts of things. I don't even remember what now, but I'm sure that Mike came into the conversation at some point. And as I was talking to Chris, I suddenly sort of started to hear music. And I have ALEXA. Spell it. I daren't say it because otherwise it'll start off. It'll say, "What do I want?" So I have these little things, and I have one in my bedroom because it's great for me to say in the morning. Sort of turn the alarm on for me at a certain time in the morning. It's the great little things to have. And if you want to play music, which I don't often do because I'm usually singing my own stuff, but if so I have them around the house. So it's for those of you who don't get what ALEXA means, it's a little device that you talk into and it does things for you. So anyway, so I'm talking to Chris. There we are. Should I have started this story with Once Upon a Time? Yes, Once Upon a Time, the other day. Yes, absolutely. All good stories must begin with Once Upon a Time. Chris and I were chattering away, and suddenly I hear music somewhere, and I'm thinking at first that it's coming from outside. But then I remember my windows are all soundproof, so beep beep beep. So so I'm listening, and I say to Chris, have you got any? Are you playing music? Because I could hear this music coming from the distance somewhere, and she said no. So I get up. I've got the device, my iPad in my hand. I get up. I start walking around the house, and as I go towards the bedroom, I can hear something playing, and it is my little Alexa, uh, and it's playing music. So I'm thinking that, see, it does that. It's when you mention the name. So I went in there. I've got Chris with me, and I'm thinking, well, I didn't even mention it. I didn't even hint at it, and all of a sudden, this little device is playing music. Okay. So as we're going towards it, Chris says to me, "What is that song that's playing?" And go ahead, Chris, because you're part of this story.
Well, the other piece we should mention is you had just given me a tour of all the windows that were put in. So we were in your bedroom just minutes before, and there
Yes.
was no music playing. And now all of a sudden,
And we didn't mention the machine, did we?
no. And then so you go back into your bedroom and you were like, "Do you hear that? Do you hear that?" And I said, "No." And you turned it up, and it was the theme song from Top Gun. Basically at the point where it says highway to the danger zone, which for people who don't know, Mike was in the Air Force and he flew fighter jets. So it was so apropos. And I said, "That's Mike." And Rosemary said, "That's Mike?" I said, "Yeah, that's the theme song from Top Gun." And
You said
then
actually that's Mike's song.
and then you actually jumped back, startled, because you could suddenly see him behind you.
Because all of a sudden you crept up behind me and leaned over my shoulder, whispered in my ear, "Yes, it's me."
Did you like that? I think that's what you told me. You said, "Did you like that?" And
Yes,
then
that's right.
and then mid song, I mean, you think if you're playing on the radio or you're playing a song, it's going to go from the start to the end. But mid song, it changed to a new song, which was the theme from Flashdance, which for me, that was the last movie that Mike and I watched together.
So
So,
you can see everybody. What a pain in the butt Mike is being with me. But Chris has actually asked him, right? What did you tell him,
oh,
Chris? What did you say?
I said, "No sneaking up on Rosemary. If you're going to come to her, you need to come from the front forward so you don't shock her."
Yeah, but you told him to bother me as much as possible, right?
Oh, yeah, I can't help that. Anybody else in this chat room would be saying the same thing, but within reason. Within reason.
Yeah. Well, he's really taken Chris at her word, and he's bothering me. Not that he really bothers me too much, but yes, do you know, Chris, isn't it funny? You know, these things, I have to tell you, these things happen to me so often that I'd actually forgotten about that. And we should tell people that, shouldn't we? We should tell people that story because, you know, here we were. I was talking to you. We were talking about loss and pain. We were talking about grief. And, you know, and all of a sudden I'm hearing music. And on a little device, which is not even the device which is behind my shoulder. for some reason in the bedroom, and there he is, and Top Gun, of all the music to be playing, Top Gun was it, and that means such a lot to you, right, Chris?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I do have to tell you, it meant nothing to me. So I didn't know that that was Mike's song, and I certainly didn't know that the Flashdance theme music was the last you'd heard together when watching a movie. So pretty neat, right? Do we have any comments or any more questions? Anybody want to comment on that? And yes, Mike did make me jump because he's a big guy. He's not, is, I mean, how could he possibly sneak up on me? He's a big guy. 1 minute I'm standing there, I'm with Chris, I'm talking through FaceTime, we're listening to the music, I'm wowed by the music, and all of a sudden this
Well, he's
person
6'1". He's tall. Yeah.
looms up behind me, makes me leap out of my skin and says, "Yes, that was me." Oh,
The fact
anyway.
that he was born on Halloween also means nothing, right?
Oh, crikey, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Eric is saying, I had a coincidence, an experience like your Moosey story,
Oh,
where
yeah.
someone asked about dealing with grief. How did I do that with my mom? What flashed immediately in my mind was how awful they had been treating me. Her words began with, Can I ask you a personal question? And I said no, and she continued to ask it. I told her that everyone deals with grief differently. Before I could even consider more, she dismissed me and moved on, so that took care of that. Your stories are always so timely.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can't please everybody, and not everybody can like you. There it is. Moving on. You got to stick with the people who do like you. You got to stick with the people who are positive. You got to stick with the people who bring you joy in your life, and we got to just ditch those people who don't bring us joy in our lives. Yes, Chris, carry on.
Wendy says, something similar happened to me and my friend Susan. Her husband, Ernie, died, and that day we buried his ashes on Shell Island. We went for lunch after, and the music played there was all their special songs.
Oh,
Amazing.
nice. Very nice. We love it when a plan comes together, don't we? Yes. Anything else,
Absolutely.
Chris?
Julie says, I hope I didn't put you on the spot with the gray eagle question.
No.
I also have proud spirit and you own the power, so I'll check out if the answer or hint is there.
Yes, I'm not going to tell you. Julie, aren't I being mean to you? um, well, no, of course you didn't put me on the spot. Here's the thing. We have a chat room. Anybody can come into the chat room and you can ask any question you like. Whether I choose to answer it or whether, and I'm never afraid to say to people, as I said to you right, earlier on, I don't know. When you talk to someone, no matter who it is, if you're talking to somebody you think is an expert on something, and you ask them a question, and you know that they don't really know the answer, but they're going to give you an answer because they feel that they should, because they're supposed to be the experts, that is an expert you do not want in your life. You want the experts who are willing to say, I have to think about that. I'm not quite sure. I don't think I know the answer to that one. That's when you know a true expert from somebody who's just mumbling and bumbling and trying to impress. Chris.
So we're right up at time, Rosemary.
Okay. Well, that's it then, right? Well, all right. Now let's go back on our schedule once again. There will be no story time on Saturday. There will be no webinar on Saturday. We plan to have our webinar this coming Saturday, which is the 26th of June. Chris will be at the memorial service, so I'm going to ask everybody. She would never ask it of you, but I'm going to ask if you can spare a few minutes during the day to remember and to just send her as much love and lots of healing thoughts and all of that. That would be nice because I'm sure it's going to be a fabulous day, but it's also going to be an emotional day. So our thoughts are going to be with Chris on Saturday. We will be doing some off the cuff stuff later tonight, and I'll be telling you, or Chris and I will be talking to you about Yes, that's what happened with Mike yesterday, which was a lot of fun actually. And we should probably be doing something on Sunday. I'm not promising we'll have story time on Sunday, but we'll be doing something at least on Sunday and throughout the week. So for those of you who have been missing us, I did say to Chris last night, I think we should sort of, you know, amp it up a bit and, you know, not, but it's been difficult because Chris has needed time to deal with all that stuff, as you can imagine. But now I'm going to be kicking her butt a little bit and I'm going to be getting her working and thinking and so on, which I think is a good thing for her. And we do enjoy it, right, Chris?
We
We
do.
enjoy these things. If you want to know more about my webinars, please go to rosemaryaltea.com, my website, rosemaryaltea.com. There are some little videos on there that you can watch if you'd like to. There's all sorts of information about different things going on. There's information about the webinars that we're planning on doing. And if you would like to subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything. There's a little button which says subscribe. If you are a subscriber, you'll get an email from us once a month, which tells you all of our plans, what we're up to, how we're doing, and so on and so forth. If you haven't had that email yet, it's because Chris is not up to doing it. So just be patient with us and just, you know, if you've emailed us, Chris, I think, is up on the emails right now. But if you send us an email and there's a little bit of a delay and it's not answered straight away, please, please, please understand that our, you know, Chris runs our office and, you know, she's got a lot on her mind right now. So what I'm saying, I suppose, is give us a break, would you? That's what I'm asking. And I know that you will, because you're all lovely and we so appreciate having you join us in our shows. So until I see you again, which is probably later on tonight, off the cuff stuff, we don't plan a time. You'll just see it if you are a subscriber or if you sort of, you know, you've tuned in. You'll see it flash up on your screen, so keep your eyes open for that little flash on the screen. It'll say Rosemary Altea is live, and we'll be doing our off the cuff stuff. And we'll not only be talking about the story of Mike, will be, which is a good story, I have to tell you. We'll be taking questions and comments and all of that. So it'll be a participation for all of us. And so that'll be later today. And just sort of keep looking. On Sunday we're planning to do something. We're going to see how Chris does. We may even do something on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. You never know. We're going to be popping in and out, right, Chris? I think we'll be just popping in and out. So
Absolutely.
until I see you all again, please, everybody, have a very, very, wait a minute, no, before I do that, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's what I want to do. Thanks to Chris. Thank you to Grey Eagle. Thank you to all of you for watching. Please have a very blessed rest of the day, everybody. And we shall be seeing you on and off through the next few days. We'll be popping in and out of your lives over the next 3 days. So we hope that you'll join us then. In the meantime, bye-bye.